Hi, I'm Jenny Rosenblum of Jenny Reads, and today I have the distinct privilege of interviewing Cathryn Marr. Now, you might be thinking, looking at the screen, she's totally lost it because there's two people there. But actually, Cathryn is the combination of Therese Frommen and Dawn Johansen. And they are with me today to talk all things of their series Soul Keeper, which blew me away. I started it totally ready for a light paranormal romance, and oh my gosh, I was wrong. I was intensely hit by this world that they have created and the characters that just blew me away. And I'm thinking that paranormal romance might just be something I'm going to be putting up in my to be read pile once in a while, especially if it's coming from these two. So let's start with, can you give us some idea of how you two became one, so to speak, and what made you decide to use the pen name Cathryn Marr?
Dawn, you
Well,
want to take it? Yeah, go ahead.
I can start that.
Yeah, because you did start it.
Yep. I had a job working as a psychologist, and out of nowhere, I became ill. And truly, one morning, woke up and I was unable to walk and ended up with a lot of the doctors had thought it was a really fast moving kind of MS, and eventually was diagnosed as third stage chronic Lyme disease. But I was unable to work for quite a while and was home and had probably way too much time to be thinking about so many things. But I had read a lot of what would be parapsychology kinds of things and started referencing into books that were about angels and then crystal children and other psychic kinds of children. And it just really piqued my interest. And I started putting together this world, and I did a lot of what ifs. What if we really did have angels here walking among us and doing good? But what about having fallen angels here, and what would happen? So that went into a lot of different things about what if we really did have psychic children here, the crystals and the indigos and rainbows. And all of a sudden there was this crazy huge world, and started putting it together a little more, well, trying to get it honed down a little bit so that it would make sense. Time went on, and I thought I really would like to get this story into a book and go from there. So I had talked to someone who ended up being a friend of Terry's, and then she said that she thought she knew somebody that could really help and do what I needed to have done and to be able to discuss this whole thing and then go from there. And she gave Terry my number. Is that how that was, Terry? Somehow we ended up
Yeah, something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
One of us
And
got the
then
other's number.
we started from there, and we met in San Francisco. We both met and went over everything, and it was just amazing and felt like such a good fit right
Yeah.
instantly.
So, Therese, what made you take a chance? Because you were already an author, right? And this
Yeah.
is a newbie.
Yeah. I was in the mood for something different and something new. And I was looking at my life and at things around here, and I'm thinking, I'd probably be a really good collaborator. Why don't I look into this? I need to to expand my circle of friends and that kind of a thing. And it just happened that two people dropped into my lap at the same time, and I worked with both of them, um, David Wind and Dawn, and it's been it's been wonderful. It's exactly what I was looking for, And it has expanded both my professional life and my personal life. So, I mean, it's been great all the way around.
Awesome. Now you guys are in separate states. In fact, all three of us are in different time zones at the moment.
Right.
So how does this work logistically? I mean, do you have like, okay, don't call me before 8 a.m. type things, or
No,
you guys
no,
work together?
we arrange to Zoom pretty much every week,
Mhm.
at noon my time and at 3, or no, at 9 Dawn's time and at noon my time. And we go over what we have together. We've gotten together, in the beginning was probably at least 3 or 4 times a year. And that's up until my husband died, that we had been getting together pretty much.
Right.
And it just been, we Zoom and we talk, and it works. You know,
Yeah.
I'm usually the one who starts the writing and then sends stuff to Dawn, and then we meet by Zoom or in person, and we go over what's there, and we check to make sure we're on the same page
Mhm.
all the time. Um, we plot together. We discuss our characters and the fact that sometimes they do not cooperate because they want to do something else.
I have questions on that in a little bit because that's, yeah, you got some really strong characters. But first, Dawn, what do you think the biggest challenge is of writing with a co-author? What?
That's a really great question. And there's so much that's been positive from the very beginning, because as soon as I met Terry and knew the credentials that she comes with, and in the business for such a long time, not that long a time, Terry, but 35, 40 years. And
This is what, yeah,
this, she's a best-selling author. There's so many things that she's done. And I dabbled in writing when I was younger. I had a degree in English and loved the thought of doing that, but that's a whole different thing than actually being able to get to a point of publication. But there wasn't a lot that felt really difficult about.
yeah,
For me, I was really maybe fearful of Zooming, what that would mean, especially when we got into COVID, and that made it so we weren't able to travel and meet. So I would say for me, it's like talking to Terry in person. It's me and her, and we just have this magic that happens between us. It we were, what was it, 2 weeks ago, Terry? I
yes,
went
I
to
think so.
Michigan,
Yeah.
and Terry and I were together and did a ton of brainstorming stuff. And I don't know, it's like this magic that happens when we really are in person. So I would say for me, maybe having that, we still did what we needed to do, Zooming, but this really, the last time we met, it's like, oh, this is the part that just seeing each other's eyes and body language and being able to really
Yeah.
connect that way, that was like, wow.
Yeah.
There are no time constraints when we meet in person. So the
Mm.
biggest challenge is that sense of, I've got to remember this and this and this and this and this, instead of just having her right there to say, oh, and by the way, I forgot this earlier.
Mhm.
Sort of.
Yeah. Yeah, it takes out some of the spontaneity and
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. All right, let's talk characters since Tracy already brought it up. So you open that can of, so you got some really important and strong characters. In fact, I don't know how you keep any of them in the background because they all seem to be shouting at me that they wanted center stage. So how do you deal with that? And okay, and truthfully, what character gives you the most challenge?
Right now, Saleha.
Yeah, okay, I like her. I would go have drinks with her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Probably decide
Mhm.
at the last second that you should go, that that drinks should be in the middle of the ocean.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, she's just like that.
yeah.
Right now, she's kind of deciding whether or not she wants to kill somebody, and you know, and I'm telling her that she cannot do this at the moment, and Dawn is saying, "Go for it, go for it."
yes. Oh,
Oh, gosh. Are the
it's
women?
been really interesting readers that have responded to different characters. And for an example, Fish is somewhat I would say, minor character. Would that be right, Terry?
Yeah,
But really has this critical role to play and is far more powerful than we even know yet. And
Mhm.
it's what's been interesting to me is what characters really touched readers' hearts, and it was just so wonderful getting that feedback. That some of that I never realized that we would get back from the characters that we had written about. So that's really been cool.
Yeah, yeah. Magpie was a blip in the first book. And
yes.
then this weekend, I read the Christmas book, the gift, is it from or to
Gift of the Magpie.
Gift of the Night? And gosh, that was that was enlightening in so many ways. And it was like this little person that you kind of saw had so much more going on beneath the surface.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was well done. That was I should have been doing housework type thing, and no, but it got read.
Nice to hear. That's great.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, that was really good. All right, so let's talk about your readers for a minute. Do you pay attention to the feedback and the reviews and the reactions from your readers?
Sort of.
Sort of.
I mean, yes, the meeting in person and stuff like this, definitely pay attention to the readers.
Mhm.
Do I personally pay attention to the reviews? No, because I love to see them and I love, a good review.
Mhm.
And there have been a couple of times when a reader has caught something that's like, oh, okay, we need to fix that. But for the most part, it's I want to personally, I want to write for them and not be stopped by them.
Good
Does
point.
that make any sense? Does that
Yes.
make sense? Yeah.
Yes, that
Okay.
makes a lot of sense. Yeah, yeah, and that's a very good way of putting it. I've heard a lot of other authors kind of dance around that one, but that's accurate. Yes, take the support, take the criticism, the good and the bad, but don't get thrown in the weeds by
That's it.
trying to
That's it.
please a specific demographic of your,
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
That's
So,
right.
so Dawn, what do you hope readers take away from these books when they're done?
I've thought about that really pretty much since Terry and I started working together. And it opened up so many thoughts about the what ifs and what's possible kinds of things. And, we know that it's such a big world. And so many authors have big worlds. And I think what made this feel different was that we were introducing beings like crystal children and the indigos and things that readers and people weren't really aware of. So it was a new world. So my hope was that it would be a enjoyable book, but on so many levels, it's thought-provoking. I think I've had several readers that had come up and to me, and I think that explains my thoughts about that, that whether or not there's crystal children or if angels, fallen or regular angels are among us, there's still so much that remains in the world that's really yet to be totally answered. So they liked that thought of having all of this stuff in this world to really, I think they both use the word thought provoking. So
Yeah.
that made me very happy to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So Therese, what would you tell authors who say, hey, I think I want to co-author? What advice would you give them?
Make sure you meet first and really like the person, that you can be on a wavelength together, because I have worked as an editor which means that I worked with authors who were co-writing and they didn't even like each other. And I couldn't understand how they could possibly work together.
Yeah.
And the books did fine, but to me, there was just a disconnect. And so I would just say, make sure you like who you're working with. It makes the office so much more genial.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of selection out there. So why would you
Yes,
work with somebody
yes.
you're not connecting with?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, ladies, what's coming up? What are you working on and what can I wait for?
You can wait for The Midwife and the Angel Slayer, which has Kessie the fairy
Mhm.
in it, and her not a god.
Okay.
Oren, who feels that everybody should do what he says and do it. Now, he does appear in Soulbound as well. And he's he's a guy.
Okay. And when is that coming?
December 1st, I think that.
Yep,
December
we're
1st.
doing a cover reveal, not this newsletter, but the next. So our November newsletter will be a cover reveal.
Okay.
And he has a very, very interesting background. He's actually, in our world, there's God and the goddess. And he was created by the goddess. The goddess had foresight, thinking that what if there was a rebellion of God's angels that he created? So she created her group of warriors that she thought would be powerful enough to take out any of the fallen who would be causing trouble. So he is one of those. His name is Torrance. So he's one of those, and he does feel like he is entitled to everything and everyone. And Kessie is he will have met his match when he meets Kessie. I'll just say that.
Awesome. Awesome. I can't wait. Well, if you're watching this, take a moment, look down below. There's going to be links for a giveaway. These ladies have graciously provided 3 paperback copies for people in the US, or if you're outside the US, please enter anyway. We have ebooks we'd love to send you. You can get some extra entries by following them on Facebook, Instagram, picking up their newsletter. So then you'll know exactly when everything's coming out and what they're offering. They're always busy. I think I've decided that there's 2 of them because there's no way one person could do the amount of stuff that they're doing. I mean, there's like shows and everything coming up if you check out the Facebook page. So give it a shot. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. And most importantly, thank you for this. Isn't this an awesome cover? Isn't that beautiful?
You're so welcome, Jenny.
So cool.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank
It's
you.
been delightful.
All right, ladies, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenny.